Hi, today I wanted to talk about one of my favorite recovery tools that I find myself using pretty much every single day, especially days that I've had a really hard workout or when I wake up and really have a sore or stiff muscles. This is something that I use for all of those applications. And so what this is what I have here in my hands. It's called the Hypervolt, and it's by a company called Hyperice. They make a couple different pretty interesting recovery tools, but this one specifically, the Hypervolt, is one that I'm pretty excited about. So what it is it's a massager, a self-massager essentially. There's a couple other massagers that are similar that are on the market right now, I would say within a similar price range. But there's a couple differences that I've seen, and a few reasons why I specifically decided to go with this one, and I'm really happy that I've done that. So first I'll just kind of give you the breakdown of what it is and kind of how it works. So there's a battery pack on the bottom part here, which has some pretty good weight to it, which is also helpful, so you're not having to use a lot of your muscle force to make it work. The weight of itself kind of causes some pressure, which is really helpful. So, and to detach that, you just press a button here, slides out like that, and these separate, which is really helpful for taking this traveling, which I've done a couple times so far. So that just plugs right back in, and then this thing is good to go once it's charged up. It comes with just a plug-in charger, pretty simple. There's an off and on switch on the bottom, so you turn that on. You get a little green ring here, and that also lets you know that the battery's charged and ready. On the back side here, you also have a couple different lights that indicate the level of battery charged, and these will go down towards the red light as you go through and use this the battery with this. I can't remember off the top of my head how many hours they say, maybe between 8 and 10, somewhere in that neighborhood on a charge. I find that it lasts quite some time. I use this, like I said, pretty much every day, and I charge it once every couple weeks, and it tends to work pretty well. So I really like that. Then what we have here is the kind of the knob end that you're going to use to massage yourself, and it comes with 4 different attachments. There's this one right here, which is kind of a hard foam circular ball. I'll just kind of show you the other ones here. There's one that's a flat, like a knob that's really good for like percussion or almost like waking up a muscle, or if it's kind of stiff, getting it to just loosen up a little bit. There's one here that's kind of a double prong. It's really good for getting into some sore places, especially working on broader muscles. And then there's a kind of a more pointy single point here that's a hard plastic. This one's also really good for getting into specific spots, sore muscles, sore areas. And then the one that's on here right now is like I said, this kind of hard foam. And so generally what I will do most often is I use this hard foam one first on an area and kind of use it to explore and see how the muscles are and find out what's sore and what's not, what's tender and what's not. And then I'll go back over the area. I'll take this out, which is pretty simple. You just pull, pops right out. Then I usually switch to this more single point hard plastic, plug that guy in, and then it's ready to go. Then I can really attack those specific sore spots and get into those places that are, it's gonna take a little bit more time and more effort to really kind of loosen that up. So really awesome tools here. So I'll put the kind of general one back on here. The other thing that I considered when looking at different self-massagers are not only the portability, like we talked about, and the battery life, but also the noise, especially if this is something that you're going to try to use and take traveling with you. First of all, I definitely do not use it on the airplane. It'd probably be a little disruptive to do that, but I do it, in the hotel room, sometimes even at friends' houses, things like that. And some of these can be quite loud, and I found that if it's so loud that it's going to disrupt conversation and interrupt the music or television that you're watching, I find that I'm less likely to use it. Whereas this one is not quite as loud as some of the other ones that I've seen. And so for me, that was a really big selling point. So I'm actually going to turn it on here so you can kind of hear. There's 3 different levels. This is level 1. Once it gets going, it has some noise, as you can hear, but it's not so loud where you can't hear me talking over it. Level 2 gets a little bit louder. As it's going faster, it has more speed. Level 3, a little louder. Now we're getting into the little noisy zone, so I'm going to turn that back off. So for me, I find that I really use level 1 and 2 often. I find that I rarely use level 3, in fact. I have used it, and I think for certain applications it is perfect, but most often I find myself using level 1 and 2, and so it does tend to keep that noise level down a little bit, which is really nice. So I'm gonna turn this back on, and I'm just gonna kind of give you a quick demonstration. So if I were to have a sore muscle in my arm, let's say my bicep, what I want to do is I can just relax my arm, bring this down the muscle, and just kind of search around, try to see what areas are sore, where tight spots are, where it's tender, where it's not. And then for me, I feel a spot right in there in my bicep that's a little tender, so I can spend some time with that. Or I can turn this off, go through the speeds, turns it off. I can take this off, swap it out with my more pointy spot, plug that in, turn it back on, and now I can go back to that spot that was really tender, and I can really work in there. I can find different angles, spend some time, and it's really a good way to get some specific manual therapy or similar to manual therapy, I should say, and just great general soft tissue mobilization that it feels very good, and I find that it has been helpful for me to kind of shorten the length of injuries that I have. So, whether it's something as minor as a muscle strain or more of a long-term thing like working on changing your posture. If you're trying to improve your posture, a lot of times we find that makes some sore muscles in the back and in the shoulder and areas that you're, waking things up that you haven't used in a while. And so if we can have a tool like this that I can use it on myself, on my back, and get to these sore muscles, it's easier for me to be then incentivized to do things that are going to improve my body if I know that I have a tool that's going to help work through some of those aches and pains as I progress. So again, I find this very, very helpful. Just real quick, I'll just name the kind of body parts that I tend to use it the most for, just because I find it's very convenient with how you can reach around. So like I said, my arms, shoulders, upper back, I get a lot of work with this. And then for me, it's also very helpful for kind of my mid and lower back, as well as my hip muscles, leg muscles. And so, as it kind of sounds, I'm going through kind of the major muscle groups, using that foam one, checking to see where it's sore, swapping it out for the more pointy one, getting spots that are really tender, and then just spending time on it, letting my body kind of guide me. So now there's many ways to use it. I only talked about 2 of the knobs here. There's 4 total, and there's other applications for those, but this is just how I tend to find use in this. You can find this at the Hyperice website. I bought this about a year ago now, and I want to say it was around $350. So it's not inexpensive, but it's a very, very high quality, great product that, again, I use every single day almost, and I would buy this again and be very, very happy with it. And I think it's absolutely worth the value and the usage you're going to get out of it, especially if you find that you have a lot of sore muscles, aches, and things that just come up a lot that can use this kind of work. So I hope that's helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and hopefully I'll hear from you soon. Thank you.